How is everybody doing? How is everybody doing? Whew, there's a lot going on these streets of the internet that I feel like I am compelled into going into this stuff. Yeah, so, shit. So there's this issue here called the Zulu Parade, which happens in New Orleans, which I just happened to accidentally come across it on TikTok. And there is a controversy happening between African Americans and South Africans. And it's not just the Zulus and South Africa who are disagreeing with this bullshit. It's a lot of South Africans. I mean, I've seen white South Africans being appalled by this. Bedies, Mapedi, Xhosas, Tswanas, Sutus, coloreds, if you don't know what I mean by that, because also there was another huge issue about what we mean by colored, South African and Americans centering themselves on every conversation, because everything obviously it has to mean what it means in America, but no one has time for any of that bullshit. So coloreds in Cape Town or Cape coloreds being offended by this thing. And then you also have, obviously, Zulus being greatly offended by this thing. And I think I've gone on to research in terms of how it started, or I mean, I've seen some videos that explain also how it started. And I mean, I would say that, I mean, the origins of this thing are the most innocent of things that one can ever come across. But innocent yet very ignorant. Because if you're gonna name your club or your march or your parade something, you need to know the meaning of that word. Like for instance, when Elon Musk named his company Tesla, and he paid millions of dollars to get all these other companies that were named Teslas to have their names changed so that it will be the only name company in the US that is named Tesla. He did it as a recognition, as an acknowledgement of the great work that was done by Nikola Tesla, which is a person. And it makes sense that because of the scientific contributions of Nikola Tesla, that his company in its nature is a scientific company. So that it is a worthy monument, so to speak, or celebration of Nikola Tesla's life. If you don't know who Nikola Tesla is, as some of you I'm assuming don't, you should just go Google who he is. So you wouldn't find anyone probably in the Tesla family or Nikola Tesla's family who would object to it, because it is so firmly rooted in the tradition of who this guy is that there is nothing to object. So, though people are free to name their organizations, their marches, their parades, whatever the hell they want to name them, but you can't name your things with the names of nations and then have nothing about that nation being depicted or represented in anything that you are doing. Let me tell you something. If these people had a parade in New Orleans or New York City or Boston or anywhere for that matter, God damn it, Cleveland, Baltimore, and they called it the Zulu Parade, but they had taken time and effort to understand how Zulus represent themselves, the Zulu attire and Zulu regalia, maybe Zulu shields and spears and the regalia that is worn by men and women or the armed forces. No one would have any issue with it. No one. But if of your own admission, your parade the message of your parade or the intent of your parade has nothing to do with Zulu people or the Zulu nation, then why do you call it Zulu? And when Zulu people say they are offended by it, why are you so stubborn? And I must tell you, as someone who has been, well, lived all over the world, that there's a reason why I don't really fuck with African Americans. Because I find African Americans to have a serious mental problem. And I've been on the record in several platforms to say that I think the reason why African Americans are behind in a lot of issues in life is because of the problems with their mentality. And this level of stubbornness in your ignorance is a huge example of people who are just who have mental problems. Because, for instance, would it be acceptable for Zulu people in South Africa, KZN, say for instance, Eshowe, or Msinga, or Nkandla, or anywhere, to have a parade and call it the Chinese parade, and have nothing in that parade depicting anything that has anything to do with the traditions and the practices and the customs and the regalia and the attire of the Chinese people? Would that be acceptable? Would it even, furthermore, would it be acceptable when they are being correct to say, no, you are offending and you are disrespecting the people whose the event has its namesake from, to be stubborn in that? Would that be acceptable? No, it wouldn't be. And I tell you now that if South Africa and the United States of America were not separated by 10,000 kilometers of ocean, this parade wouldn't be happening. It wouldn't be happening. Because Zulu people are one of the proudest people that I know that this would have ended in bloodshed. I'm telling you. And I'm not saying that it would immediately end in bloodshed. I'm saying that after they've warned you that stop calling your bullshit Zulu and you don't listen, there would be violence. Because your parade obviously happens at a specific time of the year. There will be at least 1 million Zulus descending on your event, and there will be violence. Serious violence. And it is not to say that I'm encouraging violence or that this must be misconstrued as me inciting. I'm saying that you guys clearly don't even know who the Zulu people are. You don't know who the Zulu people are. If you knew who the Zulu people were, you'd be doing none of this bullshit that you guys are doing. It's offensive. It's in poor taste. It's ignorant. And I don't understand, why are you so arrogant when you are being educated and being corrected? Do have your parade. Call it whatever you want to call it. Call it the New Orleans parade for all I care. Call it the dog shit parade. I don't give a shit. But just don't call it the Zulu parade. Because we're going to have a problem. And we have a serious problem. That's really what's up. Because Zulu and the meaning behind that word, the tradition, the culture, the history, you can't just use it as your ornament and as your costume. No, absolutely not. We won't have it. Yeah, so with that being said, I think for me, what I mean, having listened to all of the arguments that are being made by African Americans on this issue, I think for me, it's no wonder. Yeah, but it's not just like this is the only thing that makes me. The reason why you guys are so behind in life is because you have a serious mental problem. And when I'm saying you guys, I mean that obviously there are some of you who don't, but I'm saying by and large, there's a reason why your communities are the way that they are. There's a reason why there's so much dysfunction and problems in your communities. There are serious mental problems with you folks. And that's why for me I don't have friends with African Americans because of that mental problem. And I can't be hanging with people who all the time are victims, and all the time there's some boogeyman somewhere who's trying to harm them. But there are lots of black people here in the United States who are coming from all over the world who are doing very well. And the only black people who are not doing well, it's what you guys call the foundational blacks. Why is it so? Why is it so? Maybe it could just possibly be it's because the rest of the blacks who are in the US have not been in the US long enough to be brainwashed into this mentality that you folks have. Maybe have you considered that? Because the most successful group in the United States is Asians. The second most successful group in the United States is blacks, black Africans, or blacks who have parents that were born outside of the United States. So it's not even whites who are number one or number two. It's Asians and then black Africans. Why do you think it's so? And at the bottom of the pile, it's what you folks will call foundational blacks. Why do you think it's the case? I'll tell you what the problem is. The problem is your mentality. That's why a lot of us who come to the US, we don't fuck with you. Because we are on a mission. We're trying to succeed. We're not trying to be talking about being victims every day. We're not trying to be justifying why we're not succeeding every day. No. And that mentality is being exemplified in how stubborn you are, even though you are so wrong. Just cut the bullshit. Name your parade the cat shit show or something. Name it the dog shit show. I don't give a shit. Name it the New Orleans Negro Parade. Whatever shit you want to name it, just don't call it Zulu. And if you haven't realized that by now, I'm a Zulu man who was born and raised KwaZulu, who identifies as umZulu phaqa ongaxutshwe nalutho. Mina ke ngushenge sondiya phansi emsika la ngiphuma khona inkomo zaba ngapha ngashiya phuza umfulo uthukela maphakathi nalo. That's who I am, and being Zulu is not an ornament. It's not an attire or a regalia. Being Zulu is an identity, which is why all this bullshit is really pissing me off. Stop it. Stop it right now.